Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex. I am a real estate investor, and I want to make these videos to share with you the things I'm learning, the challenges I'm having, and the challenges I'm overcoming. And hopefully, you guys can leverage this information to accelerate your own journey. So today, I have an exciting video. I want to talk about the three main ways that I have used to buy properties with no money, right? So it's kind of a foreign thing. A lot of people think like, oh, you can't buy real estate with no money. It just doesn't like compute in their heads, right? But that's totally a mindset thing. I want to share with you that if I can impart one thing on you from this entire video, that is totally a mindset thing. You're 100% capable of buying real estate with $0. And I know it just does seem foreign, but there's really no magic happening here. It's pretty simple. It just kind of requires you to take action, to develop some skills, and then just go get it done, right? So let's get into it. The three main strategies that I have used to buy real estate with no money. The first is go get a good deal and then borrow any money needed. The second is go get a good deal and then partner with somebody for the cash needed. And three is negotiate a good deal with zero down payment using creative finance. So those are the three main strategies that I've used, and you'll notice that they all have a similar theme, right? Is you have to go get a good deal. So one of the biggest keys here is you have to kind of flex your real estate acquisition skills. Whether you go get that deal yourself or you find a smoking deal from a wholesaler or your network, your connections, however you do that, that is always going to be the very first step into doing something like this where you can get some real estate with no money. You have to go get a good deal. That's pretty much a requirement. So let's talk about how to go get that good deal. This is most likely going to have to be an off-market opportunity, unless it's on-market creatively. We'll get to that in a second, but let's just assume right now, if I had to go do this right now, this second, I would pull a list of off-market properties with people who have some sort of pain point where I think I can potentially help their situation. So I'd pull the list from whatever, PropStream, PropWire, pick any website, and then from there you skip trace it. Skip tracing it means you basically go get their phone numbers, and that costs 10 to 15 cents per lead. So essentially now I've got my list of people who I think I can help. I've got all their phone numbers, and then next step is you have to reach out to them and ask them if you can help. You can do that through cold calling, you can do it through text blasting, you can do it through direct mail. It doesn't really matter. They all work. They all have their pluses and minuses, but some way, shape, or form, you have to reach out to all of them and see if you can help. Out of that, there will be a couple people in that list that raise their hand and they want to have a conversation, they want to sell, they want to see if you can help. And now your job is to basically solve their problem in entirety. So you need to, like Pace Morby says, find the bunnies, right? And that just essentially means find what their problem is, find what is holding them back, why no other real estate investor has been able to purchase this property from them. What are these hidden problems? What are these black swans that no one else has been able to uncover? And the way you find those is through building a relationship with that seller. You need to really ask powerful questions, build your own credibility, build your rapport. You're probably going to have a difficult conversation with them to get down to the root of what is actually going on here and how you can actually solve their problem. So you're definitely going to need them to open up. And that's going to require some skills on the phones. So that's going to require you to be a human, to be consistent, to be dependable, to be reliable. And that's not easy, but it's certainly doable. It's not anything outlandish for sure. So find the bunnies. So once you find the bunnies, you need to basically solve that problem for them, right? So no one is going to do a deal with you if you don't provide any value to them. So identify the bunnies, whatever that might be. If they have problems with moving or need you to help organize a moving company or need help evicting a tenant or whatever their problem is currently, just solve that issue, find those bunnies, and then provide value to them, right? So basically, one, pull the list, skip trace it, reach out, see if you can help, build a relationship, find the bunnies, and then provide value to them, right? That's how you get a good deal in real estate. So now you have a good deal in real estate. Now you need to either find money to pay for that good deal, or you need to find partners, right? And my best advice to you would be to start right now before you have the deal. Once you have the deal, it's kind of like crunch time, and there's a closing date, and you're like kind of on the clock, and that's stressful. So my biggest advice would be start now. The sooner you can start, the more money you're going to be able to raise, the more partners you're going to be able to find. It's just going to be a much easier, smoother process. You're not going to sound desperate. When people sound like super desperate and they're trying to like get some of my money, I'm like, I'm running the other direction, right? So if you do it now when you don't need it, you're going to be much, much more successful. So how I would go about doing that, if I wanted to start finding some private money and some partners, I would be posting a lot on social media, like you guys probably see I am. You want to use that as almost your resume, right? To prove that, hey, you're actually doing this thing. Here's the successes you're having. Here's the challenges you're having. Here's the failures you're having. Just kind of putting yourself out there so people are comfortable with you. They know you're reliable. They know you're consistent. They know you're actually doing this business. So that's the first thing. Post on social media a lot. I would also go to every single networking event that was within a 2-hour radius of you, right? So that is going to have a ton of other connections in that room if you get into them. There's going to be other real estate investors. There's going to be people who invest in real estate with their money. I would go to there, bring a notebook, meet every single person, write down what they're looking for, and go from there, right? That's going to be one of your best ones. Another thing you can do is reach out to friends and family, right? And my advice here would be, I know it's going to be kind of awkward sometimes, but you want to frame it as a positive, like you're providing them just an option. It's just an opportunity. Take it or leave it. No worries, right? So that's the best way to do that. And then just continuing to hammer on every single one of those, right, over time. Build up your list. Have some sort of a CRM where you're keeping track of these people and follow up with them occasionally. Keep that relationship strong. Provide them value constantly in any way you can, right? However that may be. So now that's kind of if you don't need the money like today, that's what I would do. But if you did need the money today, here is kind of what I would do, right? So there is the saying, like, hey, if the deal is good enough, the money will come, right? And that is true. So that if you have a good deal, that's definitely on your side. So that's definitely going to help, right? So if I was finding partners like today, I would go on Google, I would search any networking event in my area, and I would go to that, and I would have like a slide deck ready, right? I'd have it printed out. I would have it extremely professional. I would have the projected returns. I would have any past projects you've done. I would give them as much possible information as you can so that they can see that, make a decision, see that you're credible, that you put some time, energy, and effort into this. And that's how I would kind of try to attract people from like a networking event. I would go on any Facebook group. There's probably a real estate investor Facebook group in your area, or probably multiple of them, depending on where you live. I would go on there, post, introduce yourself, introduce the deal, introduce the projected returns, anything like that. See if someone wants to meet you at the project, that sort of thing. I would definitely leverage those Facebook groups. Another thing, if you're looking for partners today, you could go on like Zillow or Redfin, look at the sold comps in the neighborhood, and then look for the flips. So these are going to be properties that were bought and sold in like less than a year. You could probably see they bought it at a low price, they sold it at a high price. When you look at the most recent pictures, it's going to look beautiful, right? So those are flippers. And then you can basically go, it's going to say literally right on there who the listing agent was. You could just call up the listing agent and see if they'll give you the buyer. If not, you can just find the property address and look up the old buyer and then skip trace them and call them yourselves. But that'd be another excellent way to find some partners. And then if I needed money today, it would be kind of the same strategy, right? You'd have to go to friends and family, but you just have to do it with more urgency. Instead of one touch a day, asking one person a day, you'd have to ask 50 a day. You'd have to ask 100 a day, right? You'd have to just crank up the volume if you wanted this process to be accelerated. So it's just kind of an input-output equation. The input is the number of people you present with this opportunity versus the number of people who say yes. So I would just crank up the volume there. Ask literally everyone you know. This can work. Anyone with an IRA can lend you money. So let's say someone had a job they worked at for 5 years and then they switched to a different place. They probably have some sort of retirement account at that old job that they can now use to invest in real estate and do whatever. So that'd be excellent. Anyone or yourself with a HELOC or a credit card or whatever, if the returns are good enough, this is a legit option, right? Because like I don't put my cash in other people's deals, but if someone came to me with like a 30% cash on cash return, okay, now I'm kind of trying to figure out how do I make this happen. I can swipe my credit card. My credit card's only 20% interest. Like, just thoughts like that start to happen when you have a good enough deal. So if you do have a good enough deal, that's a legit option. Or someone with a HELOC too. That's a much lower interest rate. So you could have somebody pull their money out of the HELOC. They're paying 8-9% interest, whatever it may be. But if you're paying them 20, 25 or whatever, it totally makes sense. It's totally worth it then. And the last option that I wanted to talk to you guys about for getting zero down deals is using creative finance. So essentially creative finance is just kind of an umbrella term. It can mean subject to deals, mean seller finance, lease out, pretty much anything untraditional, right? So in terms of subject to, where you come in and you take over their existing mortgage, you don't go get your own money to pay it off, you just take over their mortgage. That's an effective way, especially if they don't have any equity, because then you could literally just take over the mortgage and then they're happy, because otherwise they would have had to pay to sell the property. So that's one option. Seller financing with a zero down payment, that works. I've done that before. There might be some closing costs and stuff like that, but in the past I've done it so where I'm buying it, like you just kind of set it up, buy it on the first of the month, and then the day you get all the rent in is the same day you have to pay the closing costs, and you get the security deposits. You can just use that money to pay whatever closing costs. Kind of works out good. So in conclusion, the key is to get a good deal. And most people think they have a good deal and they really don't. And people dramatically underestimate the amount of time, energy, and effort and deals they have to go through to get a good deal, right? So the key is to get a good deal if you want to buy real estate with no money. You're going to have to reshift your brain and dramatically alter the amount of volume you think it takes to get a good deal, right? So like I was saying, go get a good deal and then partner up with somebody with the renovations. Go get a good deal and borrow the money for the renovations or closing costs or whatever cash you need. Or option 3 is go negotiate a good deal using creative finance, and where you have to bring $0 to the table. Those are the main 3. I'm sure there's more. Those are just the ones I've personally done, right? And the thing is, though, they only work if you do, right? So this is great in theory, but you have to really embody the fact that you can do this. It's a real thing. You just have to go take action, right? And the sooner you start, the easier this process is going to be, the quicker it's going to go. You're going to have to go through that learning curve. So the sooner you start that, the better, right? So that is one thing I want to impart on you guys is you can do this. I know it seems foreign, but you can certainly do it. But that's all I got for this video. Definitely let me know what you want to see next, and I will catch you guys on the next one.